can we do to improve our B.O.L.T score? So whilst walking, whilst jogging, whilst running, whilst sleeping, training ourselves to shut our mouths is one of the simplest things that we can do. Okay, so nose creates nitric oxide, doesn't create nitric oxide in our mouths, only in our nose. So when we breathe through our nose, that gets that nitric oxide down into our lungs. It's a vasodilator, which makes it easier for our lungs to exchange oxygen. Okay, so when we're doing the dishes, when we're doing a menial task, bring awareness. Is my mouth closed, and am I just breathing light and calm through that nose? Okay. If we've got low scores, we need to sort out the fundamentals such as unblocking stuffy and blocked noses. And something I'll really encourage you all to focus on is like breathing light to breathe right. Okay, so if you are ever practicing just shutting your mouth doing the dishes, try not to then go into, oh my goodness, I've got to breathe lots. Okay, just focus on breathing light exhales, light inhales. Okay, so light breath is the aim of the game. You could also imagine it, right? Like if you turned up to the airport and you've just got your bags off the carousel and, you know, there's a less fit, let's say slightly overweight person that isn't into running like us. And then let's call them the spectator. And then they're standing next to a well-trained athlete in their full sports uniform who's off to the Olympics with great functional breathing, okay? You both pick up two heavy bags, the spectator and the athlete, and they go to turn to exit the airport and they see that the escalator's broken, right? They've both got to walk up 4 flights of steps to the top. Could you describe how that spectator and the athlete would feel by the time they've got to the steps at the top? Would probably expect the athlete to be breathing light, slow, calm, and deep. Not really too phased by it. We could probably expect the spectator to be breathing heavy, audible, right? Quite hard and laborious, okay? So breathing light is the key to breathing light, okay? So getting our biochemistry correct, getting used to that oxygen starvation so that the chemoreceptivity becomes familiar, and then getting our biomechanics right, okay? So activation of our lower rib cage and understanding where that diaphragm is in context to our breathing, getting the plunger effect really working. So bringing awareness to, am I breathing from down here in my diaphragm, or am I breathing from in the top of my chest and it feels really hard, okay? So that's a big awareness that I'll encourage you guys to bring. Does anyone have any other questions so far? Great, okay. So we have a track session on Thursday the 28th, I believe, Zoe, for everyone in Tauranga. Correct, awesome.
Sorry, yeah, correct. And then everyone, correct. And then everyone who's not in Tauranga, I'll send the program session to them as well. And maybe just you and I write a little blurb for them so they kind of see what we do and how we do it.
Cool. Super awesome. So Thursday, 28th of March, we have a track session. So what we'll do is we'll do some warm-up exercises and then some breathing recovery exercises. So Zoe will push us. And then we'll do some recovery exercises within that. And so that'll be during that track session. And happy to open the floor for the next 5 minutes if anyone wants to have any questions about the diaphragm, about biochemistry, or breathing in general whilst moving and running. Happy to open the floor.
I'll go first. Charlotte and I were running the other day, and we were running fairly fast, in like that kind of tempo zone. And she did a lot better than me at breathing out of her nose. I was kind of like struggling and probably ended up mouth breathing a lot sooner than her. But just going off what Toby said too, how can we try and train that level? Or do we obviously need to start at doing the dishes, going to sleep, nasal breathing? How do we level up from that to that next step?
Couple of tips. So yeah, obviously there's all the fundamentals and all the basics and all the skills. Okay, so I offer training programs for that. Some gimmies for that that I use really effectively whilst running is if you are practicing whilst running, you've got your mouth closed, you're doing tempo, or you've maybe even just come up to a hill, right? You might be running flat, 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 pretty comfortably, working through that nose. Mouth shut. It sounds stupid, but smile really hard, okay? So if you just close your mouth right now, Zoe, and then smile really hard, but keep your lips closed, all right, what happens? We end up flaring our nose, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I run past lots of people and they think I'm smiling at them all the time. I'm just actually just trying to breathe.
That's so good.
What we do, right, what's that training our body, right, is saying, hey, look, I'm not going to decrease the pressure in your lungs, okay? I'm not going to decrease the pressure in your lungs so you can maintain that good biochemical exchange, but I'm going to give you a little bit more space to take in a little bit more volume at the same pressure. Okay, so that's the science behind that.
Yeah.
Nose. It was starting to get hard. Open the mouth. That's okay. Yeah, you can. Yeah, pretty much. If you can test like where that limit is and go there and keep trying. Like I mentioned to you the other day, I was doing some hill testing for Zoe, and I was like full like, like you should have seen me like. I was like, my lips were like, come on, come on, come on, come on. Going up the mount. But what actually happened is that I've never had heart rate data, but actually I think kept my heart rate at like 181 beats per minute. And so like it didn't let my heart blow up.
Yeah.
Which I found absolutely fascinating. And I've never pushed that hard going up a hill before.
Yeah, you could see your power spikes. You could see you were working really hard power-wise.
Yeah. But my heart didn't go 200 beats per minute.
No.
Which was fascinating, I thought. So you can take keeping your mouth closed pretty high, but again, lifting it. Charlotte, best way to not overthink breathing. If I do, I start to panic. Okay. I think your score was about 18, Charlotte. So again, we'll go through this on the track session. Just some light walking with experiencing oxygen hunger. Okay, so just like we were holding for our B.O.L.T score, essentially just practice walking along and just holding your nose for like 3 seconds, keeping your mouth closed, and then returning to nasal breathing through the nose again for like another 10 seconds. Block and keep walking for another 3 seconds and just keep cycling through that. And so the overthinking is associated with the functionality, which then the brain starts freaking out about. Okay, so we've just got to train the chemoreceptivity to be okay with our breathing. Okay, so we'll have some the track session, there'll be some more insights on that for sure, which will help. Tips on how to get your shoulders and chest to relax while try to dial and diaphragm and intend to take very short, shallow breaths. Yeah. So one that I think is really important in exercise, which I've never experienced or heard or talked about, when getting really puffed, or, the classic is like, put your hands on your hips. Okay. Opens up the shoulders, opens up the elbows, great, but it's not actually teaching our body what it needs to do to breathe well. So, Brooke, when you're trying to get your shoulders and chest to relax while controlling the diaphragm, what I'd love for you to just practice is just when breathing, put your hands on your lower ribs, okay? And focus on feeling them expand down here, okay? They should expand outward at the base on that inhale. And that means you'll be relaxing all the way down and getting the biomechanics working in the diaphragm. Okay, and so if that plunge is drawing all the way down, it'll support the diaphragm and breathing right, which will then support the top section to relax whilst breathing. Okay, as you move through, you'll be able to change the rhythms and the different types of breathing that then also contribute to that. But again, focusing on breathing light. And then this is a really good awareness exercise. All right, how is my lower ribs? That's essentially the indicator that we're breathing down into the bottom of the diaphragm. Okay, so that should help draw those breaths down and not be up here in the top, short and shallow breaths. Cool. A lot of the stuff at the most fundamental level is just bringing awareness, right, of like, where am I at right now? And I think it sounds like by the questions that we've had this evening, I think you're all 10 times advanced than this hockey player that Zoe was talking about. Pushing really hard and not getting to the end of a game, but like really good at hockey, right? I'd way rather be like not very good at hockey and like, I can play 50 games. That's a way more valuable player, in my opinion, if I was a coach. Awesome. Well, happy to wrap things up there this evening, team. And yeah, any questions, anytime, send them through. We've got some more things this week, 28th of March. So looking forward to that. It's week after, Thursday, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Epic. Thank you, Alex. That was awesome and so much learning involved in. I look forward to listening to everyone tell me how they've started nasal breathing and while they're doing the dishes. Do you know how easy that is for me? Because you just like put it in the dishwasher and close it. So that's like one breath in, one breath out.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you the last time I've used the dishwasher. So yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, I look forward to hearing what everyone who is on and everyone who will listen to it after will give something a go to see how it helps them level up, because there's so many things that we can do, and I think breathing is such a simple, easy thing to work on because we do it every second of the day, so it's not hard.
Completely. And look, yeah, I just encourage everyone, like, I'm just an experiment. I encourage you to experiment with yourself, find your own truths. And the biggest thing that I learned in the last couple of weeks was we breathe 20,000 times per day on average.
Whoa, right?
We take 10,000 steps per day, they say, to be healthy. Nobody's talking about the breathing. There's twice as many of them. What's going on?
Right, there you go. I think you've found your like link between the tech world and breathing. You can like make something for Garmin in terms of like how many breaths you take in the day.
Correct. All righty, team. Good night.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, guys, for joining in.
See you soon. Bye.